Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? Everything that we do has meaning to it. Everything we decide has meaning to it. You have to be able to really remove yourself from the catastrophizing, from the ideations, from the worst case scenarios, because chances are, and I'm not saying this is always true, but for the majority of the time, chances are whatever you think is the terrible thing that is happening is not actually that. Right? And if you come from a traumatic background, one of the things that's really difficult is being willing to sit in that truth, right? Especially if you come from abuse, from suffering, from neglect, from enmeshment, from grooming. Everything's worst case. If you have parents like my parents were fucking crazy, like legit, and everything was chaos all the time. And when everything is chaos all the time, we learn to always look for chaos. This is the same way you end up in relationships that are volatile, where you end up in jobs that people don't take care of you. When you end up, even things like what I used to do in my 20s, I would not pay my bills. And the bill collectors would be calling, or my sister would call me. She's like, dude, why are the bill collectors calling me? These things happen because we put ourselves in the worst case scenario because it's known. And so when you're in this thing about catastrophizing and looking for the worst case, what I would argue is that one of the most important things that you could do is when something, let's just call it something bad, right? Well, and you're like, something bad has happened, whatever that means for you, bad is different for everybody. Just pausing and going, okay, wait a second. Is there a silver lining here? Is there something here that is a lesson to be learned that I can carry with me, that I can bring into my day-to-day life, that I can assess for the future? And more so, if something is good, and this is where it gets really tricky, is when it's good, allowing that. Can you allow the good to exist? Can you allow that place in which you give yourself permission to enjoy, to let it be, to not fight it, to not say, oh, this is good, so I know that the other shoe is going to drop and bad is around the corner? We will find what we're looking for. It is always there. It was always right there. And if you want to find the bad, you will find it. If you want to find the good, you will find it. But one of the things you have to do is be cognizant of that. And this is one of the things we're going to go into during Unbroken conference. So if you haven't registered, think Unbroken conference when we do it live is absolutely free. If you go to unbrokencon.com, that's unbrokencon.com. So if you go to unbrokencon.com, you can register for free. We have not announced the actual dates. We have not announced the actual speakers. We have not announced the giveaways. We've announced nothing. That stuff is coming, but there's going to be awesome surprises for the people who register early. I'll tell you that much. Behind the scenes, we've already got 5 speakers on board who are life changers, world changers. I mean, people with gigantic followings and beautiful messages. And of course, I'll be there speaking myself. It's virtual. It's free. If you're watching live, you can always get the replays and all that. We'll talk about that stuff later. But if you haven't registered, go to unbrokencon.com. And so as you're going through and you're looking at your life and the good things are happening and you're like, oh, well, do I deserve good? Should I have good? Is good for me? It's like, yes. Trauma survivors, we say this all the time. I thrive in chaos. Why would you want that? Ask yourself that question. I know I bring this up a lot, but seriously, ask yourself, why would you want to thrive in chaos? Like, that's so dumb. If you really break it down and you really think about it, why would you not want to thrive in joy and love and happiness, companionship, admiration, abundance? Because we're always looking for meaning. It could be significance. It could be creativity. There's a million different things that we're seeking in those moments. But ultimately, when we pause and we ask ourselves, like, what is it? Seriously, like, what is it that's happening? What is the thing that I want, need, desire? and you will allow yourself to have it, that's life changing, right? It's life changing when you don't always look for the worst possible thing that's happening. You could win the lottery, right? And then you can find a million reasons why it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. You could be in the best relationship of your life, and you could be looking for all of the little tiny signs in your life, in the moments, in the passings that go, oh, this is not going to work. Whatever you seek, you will find. I mean, that's just the truth of life.